Anyway, thanks for staying with us and welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now, 5 persons have been rescued from a 2-story building that collapsed in Kubwa area of the Federal Capital Territory. Rescue operations was on when Arise News visited the scene earlier today on Friday. Arise News correspondent Tuji Olanipeku filed this report.
Eyewitnesses say the structure showed no sign of distress or weakness 24 hours earlier, but on Thursday night, the 2-story building gave way, trapping 5 persons underneath.
It was around 10:40-something yesterday night when we were in the parlor watching movies. Then we heard the sound of, we thought it was like rain falling actually. So we came outside and then just for us to see dust like everywhere, it was like cloud everywhere. And then everybody rushed outside. We started shouting for help, and we saw that the building was collapsed. And then, for me to enter back inside, the tap was destroyed. Water entered our house, dust, and since yesterday, we're not able to sleep.
Emergency and rescue agencies were all on ground with equipment to rescue 2 trapped under the rubble. The Federal Capital Territory Emergency Management Agency gives an update on the building collapse.
We received a distress call at about 11:45, and on turning out, we arrived here where we had to activate other stakeholders. We activated NEMA, Road Safety, FCT Fire Service, some of our civil defense, the police force. We all turned out and we swung into action. Well, with other forces, we had combined forces, a combined team, and we were able to rescue 5 people. We took them to the hospital. 2 of them are already out of the hospital. They are not badly injured. We have 2 more people that are trapped in the building, and that is what we are doing now.
Residents of the area speak more on the incident.
Nobody believed the building is going to collapse because initially initially they have a plan of putting transport car park there. So along the line they changed their plan, and we heard that they want to build another plaza there. So later on, I think so many engineers work in that house, in the building, the collapsed building, whereby they've been sacked, like 3 or 4 engineers.
I'm very surprised, like seriously, very, very surprised. Because this hotel I've known for more than 15 years. I school here, born and brought up, so I was surprised. When I came, my sales girl was telling me that the shop, she was telling me that the hotel has gone down, like things just collapsed overnight. I was surprised.
FCT, Emergency Management Agency, we don't give up. We make sure we get to the root, we carry out the search and rescue, and ensure that we rescue whoever is trapped in the building.
Residents are hoping that the government will do more to check issues of building collapse in the FCT.
Of course, Steve, always very distressing.
Very.
To hear stories like this. It speaks to a lot of negligence. If we even look at construction materials, are people cutting corners? It's not a question. People are cutting corners because we've seen stories like this, more of it.
Absolutely. I mean, buildings won't collapse if the right things were done. And I think the major theme that the federal government, I mean, this happened in Abuja, what I didn't hear from the woman that spoke is the fact that, yes, you try and rescue, you try and do all those things, but then there are basic fundamental things that are wrong with the way that developers are constructing, structures all over the place. The National Building Code is yet to be approved, which means that we do not have a standardized format of what constitutes proper structure. We don't have that. You will find different states dealing with their own. Lagos has been, dealing with it. Many states in the southeast of Nigeria, many in the north. It happens everywhere. But then let the National Assembly do the needful and pass this National Building Code so that you can have a document, through which you can hold people responsible and say that you have failed. Yes, we know that, if materials are bad, if you are cutting corners, if you are erecting structures where you are not supposed to, if you are not observing many of the rules, this sort of a thing will happen. But then on a national scale, as it is done in all countries, let's have that code that will put people under, national surveillance. But then again, what is also important is how you deal with those, who have erred, the developers, those who funded it, etc. You can't just, don't be surprised if it is not even a new structure. It might be that what has happened is that the structure has been there, and then there's an adjustment to add a floor or to add 2 floors or to create shops along the line. Those things, violate the law. They violate the building code. They violate everything. Government must be strict in dealing with the perpetrators.
And this should have happened by now, because we had a recent situation here in Lagos in Ikoyi.
Oh, yes.
With that collapse. And I don't believe that we're still sitting here having a conversation about this.
That's the thing.
And necessary measures have not been taken.
Unfortunately, we're still discussing it, and some people are sitting comfortably at the National Assembly not addressing it. Like this issue now, let us know, for example, who's behind it. Who are the owners of the structure? Who is the developer? Where is he? And what does the law say in dealing with it? In Lagos, for example, once this happens, you lose the land. The government confiscates it. Is it the same in Abuja? That's why you need a building code, national building code, to tell, so that people will know that if the consequences are dire, it will be enough deterrent for them to go into this hide and seek, hanky-panky, sort of game. It's sad, and let's hope that the other ones will be rescued.
Absolutely, and of course, to all those that have been affected by this as well, we have to express how we feel about that. All right, it's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers. Steve, what have you got for us?
Yes, we will start off with This Day, as always, This Day on Saturday, where the lead story says, Wike's group increases demands on Atiku. And let's read what the writers say, because they give an indication as to what Nyesom Wike is asking of Atiku. Wants commitment to serving 1 term put in writing. Calls for alteration of North-dominated PDP NWC. Ayu and Deputy, who's from the North, Deputy North, must go. Atiku Mall's request will get back in 2 weeks. Unyielding Wike returns from London, says he's seeking remedies that will restore enduring hope in Nigeria. I mean, Abi, this is what we have always, discussed. This will not have dragged to this level if Atiku's camp has agreed, to all the demands. And they were clear from day one. Thankfully, This Day is now authenticating it to say that he's saying, you must go, the chairman of the party, commit to spending only 1 term if you win. And the unstated one there will be that when power rotates in 2026-27, it should come to the south, and Wike should be, hopefully the candidate of the PDP.
How do you envisage this is going to be responded to?
Say that again?
How do you envisage that this request is going to be?
Atiku says, give me 2 weeks to respond. They met again in London, by the way. Atiku says, give me 2 weeks. He will consult. It is possible for Atiku, for example, to say that, is that what you want? Okay, no problem. I'll put it in writing. Whatever they sign in writing, where are you going to take it? It's binding on you as PDP member. Will you take it to court so that court can say that if Atiku spends only 1 term, it's Wike that will be the unopposed candidate of the PDP? That can be politics. That can be democracy, But Atiku is not a small fry in politics. He understands the implication. If you recall when he was the vice president, there was this thing about Obasanjo also, doing the Mandela option, spend 1 time, and then Atiku would take over. But of course, we know what happened. So for Atiku, who witnessed what happened that time, and the moment Obasanjo got a 2nd term, they lost the peace, and the smooth relationship between them. Let's wait for 2 weeks.
It's interesting to see what he wants. It's interesting to have it voiced out, and now we wait and see what happens.
It's the political fight of Wike's life, because if he stops being governor from May 29th next year, and PDP is not in government, is totally out of relevance. That's why he will continue to be the bride that everybody is talking to. If I'll deal with Atiku, this is what I want. In case Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins, I need protection. If it is Obi, I'm in discussion with him. So that's the
Hedging
game
his
played.
bets.
Absolutely.
Very smartly.
Okay, so the story on top of the lead 2023. We won't lower the bar, INEC assures Nigerians. Promises not to jettison electronic transmission of results to punish political parties violating electoral timelines. I think those are two important clarifications from INEC to reassure the nation that the whole point of saying that there will be electronic transmission, but there will be a physical collation, you need to clarify that so that you don't mess up the gains of the Electoral Act. It is also nice to, to point out that campaigns have not fully started, because we have seen different characters complaining that they are removing their posters, removing their banners, etc. Campaign is yet to start. It will start towards the end of September for the presidential and the National Assembly elections, and then October 12th for the governorship and the states, houses of assembly. So people should play by the rules. By the time that starts, you will have, more than 4 or 5 months to campaign.
Yeah.
Campaigns gob money. Why are people in a hurry?
It's also right around the corner.
It's right around the corner, but wait for the whistle to be blown.
Absolutely.
That's what INEC is saying, and I think that they should be very strict in this matter. On top of the masthead, Shetima, I deliberately wore sneakers to NBA conference to offset hostile crowd. That's the story on page 8. I mean,
I said earlier you had to go there, but of course this has made its rounds on social media. Absolutely. Twitter is in a gog with this sartorial choice.
Was sneakers the issue in what he wore to?
I think it was more the tie.
The tie and the size of the suit, for example, because fashion these days has shown that you can wear sneakers depending on, with suits, especially if you're not wearing ties. If you wear ties, I mean, there are etiquettes, if you like, guiding this sort of a thing. But then we've seen another picture of Shetima, in dark glasses, in jeans, and looking dapper.
Right, I guess.
I don't know if you saw that picture. So the Shetima that a lot of people want to see shouldn't just be the Babariga one, or if you have to switch to the suit, you're looking funny, and then people are now doing the Shetima challenge. Be true to yourself.
I guess it's
give
just,
us variety.
Being comfortable
exactly,
and
exactly. On the window, trapped revenue. CBN bows to foreign airlines pressure. Releases $265 million. I mean, we discussed this with Dr. Nevin. This is a catch-22 thing for the federal government, especially the CBN. For how long are you going to be doing cherry picking? 450 billion is at stake. You've released $265 million. But then by September 1, we're losing Emirates. And then by December, if we're not careful, BA says that they may no longer be there for, to fly Nigeria. Who knows how many other airlines, are waiting in the wing to say that if we can repatriate our money, from ticket sales, what's the point, of doing business here? And all this points to the fact that we do not have national carriers that can substitute. For as long as we are in that precarious situation, this is what we'll get. And isn't it a shame for all the successive government since Obasanjo, released Nigeria Airways to, Virgin Nigeria, to Air Nigeria, etc. We've not been able to have any. The Nigeria Air that has been spoken about eloquently is still flying only on the laptop of the aviation minister. For how long are we going to, deal with this sort of a thing? Last but not the least, from this day, High Commission alerts Nigerians as South Africans march against immigrants. Again, that's the story on page 8. I'm sure that Abike Dabiri Erewa will have something to say about that by way of advice. Our interventions are always, very timely. Sometimes you wonder if there's a foreign minister, because Abike Dabiri, appears to be doing all the job. But then South Africans have to be cautioned that don't go that route again, so that there is.
This is a caution that's been going on for quite a bit,
you would know about that very well because
this has been going on for
what fuels it, by the way?
It's a lot of pent-up resentment, I would say. South Africa has got a very interesting history as well, with apartheid and the Black South Africans, and of course it's very hard for me to talk about it because I almost want to empathize, but it's a little sad because it's not easy for them to see an influx of black Africans during extremely well in their own country, where they've not had the economic resources or the education to compete on that level with them. It's a bit of a misplaced aggression. It's a lot of misplaced aggression, actually. Let me rephrase that.
But I can understand
but of course, we are...
I can understand Abby saying that, oh, they are taking over our jobs. But then they also have the other part of they are taking over our women. You know, I mean...
Yeah, taking over everything.
I mean, as South Africans that, you know, not up to the task, you know, when it comes to, you know, matters of
I mean, that would be a blanket statement, but you're not far from the truth. It's a blanket statement, it's a generalization. Not every South African, of course, is. Not every black South African, of course, is. But this is really is a bigger socio-economic issue ingrained there, but it's being expressed in the most unpalatable way to people who have got absolutely nothing to do with it. So,
we must plead caution again, and I think the words of Joseph Malema, you know, will always suffice. Don't fight your African brothers. There are bigger fights on economic level to fight. Do not fight your African brothers. Should we go to another newspaper, Abby?
Yes,
Which one do you have there?
All
The
right.
Guardian?
Let's look at The Guardian.
Okay.
We have here, what's in it for Nigerians as a mission to London, which we just touched on quite briefly. Of course, this has also got tongues wagging in terms of why do you have these meetings there? We have all of the states in Nigeria for you to conduct a meeting. Why are we choosing exotic locations? Because it's not just London. We've had, you know, these kinds of conversations in Spain. We've had Dubai. We just choose a location and we go and meet there. Is Nigeria that volatile situation? You can't have your meetings here. So that's what this is about, I would expect.
I think it shows that many of our leaders are not just sensitive to the needs of Nigerians, because what it means is that you can have meaningful meetings in your country. Are you going to be absentee leaders when you become the president or the vice president or whatever? Why do these meetings have to happen abroad? For example, Dubai, Turkey, London, as you said, you know, Paris. If they're not going for medical tourism, they're going to have their meetings there at the expense of who? You know, taxpayers' money. It's not just tidy, and I think that they should be, you know, called out.
And not sensitive either, like you mentioned earlier.
Absolutely.
So it could be one thing for it to happen, but it's also in public domain. So
why does it even have to be announced? Why do they need to show those photographs?
Why do we need to hear about it?
And then Wike is jumping from one person to the other, from Asiwaju to Obasanjo to Peter Obi, and I mean it's not just tidy.
And see, we're also in a technological era. Meetings can happen without you physically there. To start with.
That's the whole point of the era that we are in.
Right.
Let's take Saturday Tribune very quickly because we've got less than 2 minutes to go. The lead story there says insecurity. 5,000 Nigerian children may die of starvation by October. UN cries out. That's a story on page 5. Shops, the writer says, shops for 700 billion to feed 5.5 million women, children in Borno, Adamawa, Yobe. Donors shift funding to Ukraine, Ethiopia, Afghanistan. That's an important story in terms of food security and starvation. 5,000 Nigerian children, that's a huge number. What's the federal government doing? I'm sure this is to draw attention to that. Is there any other story of interest here? Conditions that created civil war are present and getting worse. That's from Professor Falola, you know, brilliant scholar who's saying that, you know, let's remember what took us to war. The conditions are prevalent now. Should we take Vanguard for the last 1 minute or thereabouts?
Yes. How security operatives, government officials run bunkering cartel. And you have the government sets Tompolo against big oil thieves. Can he outwit the powerful players? Of course, we had this conversation earlier. We have to watch and see how all of this plays out, really.
We see how it goes.
We have to see how it goes.
Tompolo has gotten his contract, but then let's see how the federal government deals with the fallout of giving it to, you know, Tompolo. Oil theft, that's a major thing that we have to do.
And the Creekman's demands.
Absolutely. All right, that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayoride.
And I am Abby Owolawi. From our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria, enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.